Hey readers, this is Liz Davidson from Beyond Solitaire Books, and today I want to review All-American Muslim Girl by Nadine Jolie Courtney. This is a book that I thought was really, really good, except in one aspect that made me very sad that I want to talk about. So All-American Muslim Girl is overall a really lovely YA book that I would be proud to have on my classroom shelves. It is about a girl who passes as white, but she is Muslim. Her parents are sort of lapsed, like her mother converted to Islam. Her father no longer really considers himself religious, but grew up in a Muslim household with a Muslim family. And so she is dealing with her identity and who she wants to be against the backdrop of being in the United States, being in a world where she can pass as not Muslim, but maybe wanting to connect with her religious heritage and with her family. And so the book tracks her faith journey in a way that I think is really lovely. Her willingness to explore leads her to make new friends. It makes her closer to her relatives. She learns Arabic so she can be a bit closer with her grandmother, and all of that is just really touching. And I thought it was really kind of cool to see a story where you have someone who is embracing a faith, because I mean, I'm an atheist and we'll talk more about that later, but I think that it's really nice to have narratives that have people embracing their religion in a really healthy way. One thing that's really cool about this book in particular is that it really values the freedom of the people in the book. So the main, I guess, thesis about Islam of this book is that everybody approaches it differently. Everybody's going to have their own responses and authorities that they listen to and things that they practice, and nobody is going to be perfect. And that was something that I thought was a really good message for teenagers. I thought it was very realistic to the life that the main character is living in the United States. And overall, the book's emphasis on friendship and on family was just really, really lovely. I also thought that it handled sort of teenage rebellion in an interesting way, because in this case, she's afraid to tell her father that she's becoming more religious because she's worried he'll disapprove. And usually it's the other way around. In my own experience, it was the other way around. And in the mix, you also have, a Fox News style news commentator who's riling people up. And then you have people at school who are maybe well-intentioned but don't always say or do the right things. And then you have people who are just straight up jerks. And this book kind of confronts it all in ways that I thought were age appropriate, that were really healthy, and that overall were very positive. I think maybe the best thing about the book actually was the main character's relationship with her parents and with her family. So she's really, really close to her parents. The bond between them is very strong. Her mother really cares about her and encourages her religious journey. She's afraid to tell her father, but maybe shouldn't have been so afraid. I don't really consider that a spoiler. And she also, really bonds with her cousins and with her aunts and her grandmother. And all of this is just really, really beautiful. And I thought the emphasis on those wider family bonds was also something that was very special. I can't speak for the actual Islamic teachings in the book other than that they ring true in terms of things that I have read and people that I have met. And I know that the author is essentially writing this book from her own perspective as a Muslim who grew up with some of the same conflicts that the main character did. So I really appreciated getting a glimpse at the world through her eyes. I will say, however, that as an atheist, I know that most narratives kind of trend towards people rebelling by not believing anymore, which is something that I personally went through. I mean, it wasn't really a rebellion. It was just an evolution, but that is what it is. However, this book, I think my biggest beef with it actually is that this book is all about finding your own way and being who you need to be and getting in touch with who you really are, what you really want, and people being supportive of that. At the same time, this book was really nasty about not being religious, I thought. And it was sort of insidious because the main character basically asked both of her parents why they're not very religious. And then she kind of asked them if they believe in God at all. And the way that she does that, the character is presented as being very afraid, as being very anxious, and then as being very, very relieved when her parents say, no, we do in fact believe in God. And she feels so much relief from that. And I gotta tell you, it kind of hurt my feelings a little bit. You're not a bad person just because you don't believe in God and don't do religious practices. And You know, I thought that in a book that was supposed to be about self-acceptance and really going on the path that you need to walk, that making it seem like not believing was some sort of horrible thing that you would be upset to find out about somebody else was painful, especially because that's something that I have dealt with multiple times throughout my own life, where, you know, people find out that you are someone who does not believe in God, and they suddenly panic and think that you're a horrible person, and that, you know, maybe you're more dangerous now, or just all these kinds of weird assumptions that come through. And in a book that's about challenging crappy assumptions about Islam, and about a girl standing up for her religion in the face of lots of social pressure that is kind of negative towards her religion, crapping on another group of people whose religious beliefs or lack thereof draw a lot of hate, just felt kind of bad. That said, I still like the book. I would absolutely support my students reading it. I think it provides a really valuable perspective. I would love to see more literature in this vein, not specifically this viewpoint, but I would like to see more young adult literature about kids exploring religion in ways that are healthy and with support from adults and from friends and other people in their lives, because that's something that I like to see modeled. It's something that I think my students need. It's something I think all teenagers need during this particular point in their lives. The age that this character is in this book was also the age that I was when I did all my big religious exploration, so I really feel that part of her life. And it makes a lot of sense to me that it would be something that she cares about. So that's my perspective on All-American Muslim Girl. Obviously, I'm not a Muslim, so I can't speak to some of the book's impact. So I'm actually going to put another review in the show notes that I thought was really, really good from a Muslim man who had a cool perspective on the book as well. But for me, I thought it was a super charming read. I really liked it. I just wish that the author had given atheists the chance that she wants everybody else to give to Muslims. But that's why talking about religion is hard. That's why we write books about it. And that's why we read and discuss books on these topics, because we all have to get through this together. So that's what I have to say about All-American Muslim Girl. It's probably one of the better YA books I've read in a while. And if the topic interests you, it's definitely worth the time. Thanks so much for watching, and happy reading.